Hi, my name is Heidi D'Amelio, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I think he's doing an amazing job, and I can't express how proud I am of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and this is Season 12, 69. That's right, Season 12, Episode 69, also known as 1169. Today we have a great guest. She already introduced herself, but one thing I want to say, if you have any questions for me and our guests, you are obligated, if you're watching, obviously, you're obligated to leave a comment, a like, question for me and our guest. First subject I want to talk to you about is icebreakers. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Heidi D'Amelio, and it is an honor to be on the Keith Andrew Network podcast. I love to be able to express how much and how proud of I am of him doing this type of topics. I have a disability where sometimes I stutter like that. I was born with epilepsy. I've had it the majority of my life. It went unnoticed until I was the age of 13, and then I was diagnosed with it. I just recently was diagnosed with Lyme's disease, so I do have some like muscle and joint issues that happen a lot. Now, I'll never get rid of epilepsy. The doctors told me I'll have that for the rest of my life, but I did not let that hold me back. However, I got bullied by a tremendous amount of people, and even whether they don't see it, it is what it is. Like even family members kind of put me down for, not being able to like get a regular job because nobody wanted to take a chance of hiring me because I was a risk or a liability if I'd have a seizure. And I think the people that have hired me during my teenage years where I have worked and took a chance on me because even with having epilepsy, I didn't let it hold me back. And as far as now, like one of the things that I do now is I do acting, modeling, a lot of writing. Like I'm writing a couple TV shows. One's a reality show called The Color of Love. The other one is a couple books that eventually might turn into like short films. I have wrote a children's book called Everybody is a Martin. And what it does is it dumbs down different cultures on a kid's level. And it's not published yet, but I met a great publisher and I'm working on getting them published and I'm taking it from there. But right now, I'm currently working on the movie. It's a Preston Dent film called Harrisburg, the real Harrisburg, the movie. And I'm part of production and I may be a character in the movie. I started out being Deja's mom, and then we had to get a different Deja. So my character then changed. But as of right now, I'm on the production team and I support Preston Dent in his film because he's such a creative and talented man. I work with Kent Casper from Hollywood, California. I do a lot of reading. If anybody has an acting, um, they have to submit. I help read or I can help coach them. Like I've been coached by Kent Casper and I've learned a lot from him to where I can start coaching and helping other people who are inspiring actors. And I pretty much let them know like I have a disability, so if I can do it, you can too.
I say that a lot too. It's funny we have that in common.
Yeah.
Also, I also tell people labels do not dictate. I don't do my speech during the show because I don't want to take time away from you, but I put it in the introduction. But labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them, stem out stuff. And you mentioned a lot of great subjects, with projects I would love to work with you on. Have you thought about ghostwriting?
Yes, actually, I have.
Well, if
I
you
have a book full of projects that I started like just jotting down ideas and like every day with having epilepsy, um, my brain just never stops working. I'm constantly thinking. And sometimes, like, even when I try to sleep, like, my brain just doesn't rest. And I'm constantly coming up with ideas. And I'll have to wake up in the middle of the night and write it down real quick. I'm like, that's a great idea. I'll come back to that later. So, yeah, I'd love to ghostwrite.
if you're interested, would you be interested in ghostwriting my book, or I will tell you my story and you can just dictate it?
I could do that. I have a gentleman, Andre, that I'm ghostwriting for currently. He's writing about the unjustice system in New York, and so I'm helping him. I'm doing some ghostwriting for him. But yes, I would love to ghostwrite. I love doing voiceovers. If you go on YouTube to Reality 4 TV and look for the graphic novel Soldier Man, you will hear me as the narrator.
Now we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about COVID. When we come back for this commercial break. For people who want to know, it's Tuesday night, and if you're a fan of WWE NXT, available on Peacock and the CW tonight. If you're on the East Coast, and if you're on the West Coast, it's 5 o'clock. So East 5 West. East. You think I would know? I'm a big wrestling fan. East time will be 8. West will be 5. Make sure to check out WWE NXT. If you missed it, that's okay because it's available on Peacock. But the next question I want to talk to you about is sports. Did you do any sports growing up? And when you were in college, were you a study nerd or party animal?
Okay, so great question. I did do sports. I started out as doing field hockey in the seventh grade, and that's the year that I was diagnosed with having epilepsy. And the school made me quit sports, and I felt like I was being targeted. Like I really felt discriminated against. I knew other people that had asthma and they were allowed to play, but because I had epilepsy and they didn't want me to get hit in the head, and I'm like, why can't I wear a helmet? And they're like, no, it's too much of a risk. So I was really upset that I wasn't allowed to play sports anymore after giving it all in field hockey. That I had two amazing teachers, Mr. Minotti, Bob Minotti, and Mrs. Weaver. They went into the closet at the high school and they found the mascot uniform was dry rotted, and they really wanted to make me feel a part of the school, and they went out and purchased the new Mifflinburg area Wildcats mascot, and I was the first to wear it, and I was the one that brought I'm the original Wildcat that brought the Mifflinburg mascot back to Mifflinburg area school district.
When you mentioned they went into the closet, I really thought that was gonna take a dark turn. Or
No dark
maybe they
turns
did.
here.
I don't know. I don't judge, but but
No judgment here. I'm a judgment free zone.
yeah, I agree. Now, did you ever get to? A lot of people make fun of me for this. Did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids? And
I
would you be interested in doing one?
um I never got to do one, but I did get made fun of quite a bit. One time I had a seizure walking down the high school hallway and I fell, and this one boy, his name was Carlos. I can't give out the rest of his name, but anybody that went to school with me, they know who Carlos is. He was, or no, I'm sorry, Carlo. He was the only Carlo in our school. And he made fun of me from falling. and he laughed at me. And then I had another student come over and like, hey, she has epilepsy. And they helped me up. And, after that, he never made fun of me again. I had another student. One time I was having an aura, like a seizure was going to start, and I could hear like the Charlie Brown's voice in my ear, like, wah, wah, wah. And there was people talking to me, but I couldn't understand them because it was distorted like Charlie Brown's teacher. And this other kid, he made fun of me. And at that moment, I was blacking out from the seizure. And I ended up like getting into an altercation with him, like fighting, but I didn't know what was happening because I didn't know what was going on. And all I was trying to do was just protect myself. And so after like those people found out that I had a disability called epilepsy, and back then not a lot of people really knew what it was. It was just starting to come out.
If I may, I mentioned human pyramids, not epilepsy, but it's okay. Continue your
Okay.
story.
Human pyramids, like explain what you mean by that because I didn't comprehend.
People like pretty much climb on top of each other and form
Oh,
a shape of a pyramid.
I am probably, if I was at the bottom, I would participate, but at the top. And it's funny because like I like to be a leader, not a follower, but I am afraid of heights. I can go up a ladder, but I can't come down.
No, absolutely. And I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted for our listeners to clarify, you didn't go off on a tangent or anything. It just, if I slur the word, I do apologize.
It's okay. I have the same thing where sometimes like my mouth I'll speak faster than I think, or I think faster than I speak, and it comes out backwards sometimes.
But continue your story. I would like to hear more about it.
Um, so yeah, like basically after people learned a little bit more about epilepsy, um, even the teachers, like I used to get bad grades because they thought I was just like staring off into school, like or staring off into school, staring off into space. Like and they're like, Heidi, you're not paying attention. My mom used to yell at me all the time, like, you're not focusing, you're not studying. And she didn't know. I just couldn't because I was having seizures. And even though they weren't like the grand mal shaky seizures, because there's so many different types of seizures out there that people don't understand. There's, you have your complex seizures, your grand mal, your petite mals, your partial complex. There's kinds that you get from like women get from menstruating. You can get seizures for febrile seizures. There's just a whole list of different type of seizures out there. And also, like you had asked, was I a party animal in college or, how did that go? Due to my learning disability, I did my studying in college online to make it a lot easier. So, no, I wasn't going out and partying. I stayed at home and I did my studying that way. I made the dean's list in Argosy University for psychology. And one of the reasons why I took psychology is I was trying to understand myself with the whole learning disability and trying to just understand like narcissistic people and learning and there's so many different learning styles. Like some styles people have to learn hands on. Some people need to read it themselves to understand and comprehend it. Some people need to listen and have other people read it to them to comprehend it. Like last night, I was at my mom's house and she bought my kids these little fairy toys. And it's like almost like a slingshot, and then it's a little helicopter fairy and you sling it up in the air and they fly and they light up and they spin around and they come down looking like little fairies. And my mom gave me the directions and I read the directions and I looked at it, but I still couldn't get it to work. But the minute my mom read the directions to me and I'm looking at it as I'm listening to her read it, I figured it out just like that. So yeah, people have different learning styles. And that's what makes it hard in school because teachers all want to teach everybody the same way, and not everybody comprehends the same way.
Absolutely. Now, the next question, the next subject, or well, question, it's the same thing, I guess, but in a way. Anyway, don't mind me. So the next subject I want to talk to you about is COVID. How has COVID impacted your life, and has it impacted your acting career? And tell us a little about your acting career.
Okay. COVID impacted my life because I love to learn. Even though I have a hard time learning and comprehending, and I comprehend in a different way than most people. Um, I love to learn new things because it's a challenge for me and it helps me overcome disabilities and things like that. So one of the things that I took another college course to be a massage therapist for sports therapy. Um, and COVID impacted me because the college I was taking it from closed down. And I was going to, after COVID was over, I was going to transfer to a closer college where I could get hands-on work. And because of COVID, they closed the whole class completely. So I was all ready to graduate. I just needed to take my last test and I would have been certified. But because of COVID, I wasn't able to get certified for that, and I can only work off of donations. So if I want to get certified, I have to go to a different school and basically start over from scratch. However, with my acting career, COVID kind of made it better because we don't have to do our auditions fully in person. Before, with auditions, like you would have to travel to California, LA, New York, Philadelphia, and do your auditions in live in person. And a lot of times that made your nerves a lot worse. With COVID, it opened up so many new doors for actors um, and models because you can self submit by recording. Like one of the things that I do is I read with Coach Kent Casper from Hollywood, California. Now he's been in so many movies. Like I can't stress it enough. He's been in Roswell, season one of Roswell. He's been on Saved by the Bell, Pacific Blue, I think, Monk, um, Mad Men. He was the train conductor on Mad Men. He was the judge in Kevin Gates' music video. He's been in so many things that it's just forever that he was Dr. Phil lookalike. But I work with him hands on the computer like this, and we read for each other for auditions, as well as other actors. Like I have an amazing actor friend that if I ever need help, he'll help me. His name is Brian, and I call him Red. Red Seven was his stage name because he's an amazing musician. And like, so with COVID, it opened up so many doors with us being able to do via, self tapes and submitting that way. And um, it saves a lot in gas. Like you
It
don't have to
does.
travel just to get told no, because you get more no's than you get yeses, but it is okay. It is what it is, and it just makes you go harder.
I agree. Now, the next one I want to talk to you about, what's difficult about being an actor for you?
An actor what at
Oh,
40?
what's difficult about being an actor?
What's difficult is it's landing the jobs. You can get auditions, like 10 to 20 auditions a day, and it's whether or not you book. Booking is the key. Booking means, okay, you got that job. So that's the most difficult part, is being an actor. Some people, if you're starting out in acting, the finance and traveling, a lot of people think, okay, I booked one thing, I'm going to make it big. I'm going to be this big star like Will Smith. I'm going to be this big star like Julia Roberts or Danny DeVito. Um, the guy that played Harry Potter. I can't think of his Radcliffe. What's his first name? I can't think of it right now. But anyway, like everybody thinks with being an actor that you're just this big time celebrity off the bat, and that's not how it works. A lot of people quit their jobs, move across the world, like they move from East Coast to the West Coast and just think they're going to hit it big. And a lot of actors get told no at first. And um, just like Hocus Pocus, when that first came out, it bombed in the movie theaters. When they first made Hocus Pocus, it bombed in the movie theaters and it didn't really amount to anything. And now all of a sudden, it's this big Halloween favorite. Like it's now they have a Hocus Pocus 2. There's talk about a Hocus Pocus 3 coming out. And there's just a lot like people expect their expectations are
Right.
high.
But the thing about that, not to interrupt, I apologize. But a lot of those movies, yes, they may suck when they first come out, no pun intended, but they have a cult following. There's a Hocus Pocus cult following. There's a Beetlejuice and Nightmare Before Christmas. They may not be, you know, box office winners, or Tim Burton films are usually hit and miss. But if you have a hardcore fan base,
Mhm.
and then it becomes a cult following, if that makes, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just they have a following that, yes, when Halloween comes, I give you an example. When Halloween comes around, everyone talk. I was talking to my brother. I was saying, yeah, well, the girl, he has a daughter. I said, oh yeah, you can show your daughter, my niece. Um, Beetlejuice and Hocus Pocus and what's the Cartoon Network one? It came out 2003.
Oh yeah.
Fairy Godmother. Wasn't bad. It was bad graphics, but it was cute. But there's so many holiday films, and then you go to Christmas. Die Hard, Home Alone, and Jingle All the Way. There's so many holidays, but each film has a following behind it, and that's the biggest
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah. I'm low key, not in a bad way. I'm low key proud jelly of you because you have so many followers on your podcast and on your YouTube channel. And I'm just starting out and I don't have that many, but one day, it's on my bucket list to hopefully be as big as you. And like I'm so proud of you. So like I want to give you a round of applause for that because you've obviously it shows that you've worked your tail off to get this far. And you know like I said, that gives me inspiration that if you can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to help you. And yes, I do have people following me, about fans. I don't really get messages. To me, honest with you, I don't get people message me out of the blue. I usually have to chase people. But occasionally there's one or two people but would message me and say, "Hey Keith, how are you? How's everything going? I wanted to reach out to you." But usually I'm just starting out and I'm chasing people, and I don't know, it's not to toot my own horn. I appreciate the comments and the support, but what my brother likes to say to me too. You've been doing this for 11 and a half years. If it isn't going anywhere, it's not going, and that drives me up a freaking wall. But I would rather make a solid foundation than being in one hit wonder or get my 15 minutes of fame and then disappear. And I've been doing this for 11 and a half years. Thanks to you, 1,169 episodes. And like the expression, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some of my episodes are really good, some are decent, some kind of eh. But you see a progress, how I taught myself step by step how to do the videos, how to interview people. I did that all by myself, and I fall under the spectrum because I read and learn at a fifth grade level. and I never went to college, so I'm not qualified to do what you do or what anyone else
I
does.
don't want to hear, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I don't want to hear you're not qualified at doing what I do. You are qualified, and it's the drive and the heart and the love that you put forth doing it. Do you know what drives me most? And it's sad because my acting coach told me, like, if you want to become an actor, the biggest thing that you need to know is your haters are going to start from your family first.
Yep.
You'll have more support from strangers than you will your family. Your family's going to tear you down, say you're not going to do it, you can't do it. But my drive is when you tell me no, I'm going to show you I can. And you're showing them you can. It might not be what their expectations are, but who's their expectations? What are they doing?
Absolutely. I do
You
have a
know,
couple questions for you off the air, but I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now, and would you recommend it to other people?
I would absolutely recommend it to other people. And I have a couple people that I think would be great guests for your show as well, and great connections. Like Red, for instance, Brian, he would be great. He's an amazing, funny person. Even Kent Casper, but we'd have to let him know to tone it down, that it is PG level.
I mean, it's PG, PG 13, 14. You can curse if you want to. Every
He's a New
episode, it
Yorker.
every episode is different because I cater to different audiences.
Yeah.
So yes, it's PG for kids, but I give you the option to express yourself. So that's why I cater to everybody,
Yeah.
not
I
to
have
interrupt.
I have a great person in mind if you ever wanted to do an episode about addiction or overcoming addiction. And I think that's important to talk about with, like, especially now with the way the world is today with kids, you want to catch them before it happens. But your other question,
Oh, what made you say yes?
what
How?
made okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I've been getting a lot of scams lately. I had a lot of people say, hey, do you want to do a voiceover? And I go to reach out and they're like, oh, you got to reach out to me on Telegram, or you have to reach
Yeah.
out to me on WhatsApp. And right there, I just don't associate with any of that. I look at that as a scammer. But the thing I did was, when you reached out to me, I was like, holy crap, did I just book? And I was so excited. And I said, well, wait a minute, slow your roll. Let's do our research. And the first thing I did was I went to YouTube and I checked out your channel. And then I went to your Facebook page and your TikTok. And I'm like, oh, he really is legit. And I'm like, and I love the message, because the message is you're not letting a disability hold you back. And that's one of my main things that I support. And that's what made me say my yes, is because you support something that's so dear to me, is showing people that you don't let a disability or that label, hold you back, and that you've become successful with it, whether it's success in other people's eyes or success in your own bucket list. It's still success, you know. And I just commend you for that. And that's what made me say my yes. Because two things that I really like to do is, it feels good to give back. And I like to support certain foundations like Camp Koala, which is a foundation that supports children that have lost family members. And the other one is like the Epilepsy Foundation and disabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, what's the last couple seconds left? How do you feel now, and would you recommend it?
I am like honored, to be honest. I am honored to be able to be a guest on your show. And yes, absolutely, I would recommend it. And
Yeah,
I am a huge wrestling fan as well. Like, I have WWE sneakers and I have some favorite wrestlers.
well, we can definitely say that for part two. But wrapping up, our goal is to reach 500 to 1,000 views. I will share it on all social medias. I expect you to do the same. And once we
Absolutely.
reach our goal, we definitely do part two. There is a Christmas episode coming up on December 14th. You and your kids are more than welcome to be part of it. That will be Saturday night at 8 p.m. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. Until we meet again, I'll catch you later.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Joe, it's supporting me, and my message is all that